depends on the set. But generally with a scene, the way I tend to light a scene is I like to keep everything off the floor when I light a set, and then to give very much a free rein and then see where that scene goes before I start to finesse any lighting of any sort. But I like to keep a very clear and broad space for the director and actors to work in. My philosophy about what I do is I obviously love cinematography, but I don't think that the cinematography is the most important thing on the set. You know, I enjoy watching good scenes with good actors. I'm a very privileged position where I'm at the very front of that, watching that happening, unfold in front of me. And I don't want it to be about my cinematography. I want the cinematography to be good, but essentially I want to make a good movie. My wife's writing. She was writing last night, and I was asking her some question about, oh, the kids had their bath. She said, I'm writing, I'm in the scene, I can't talk to you about it. And she said, you know, I'm writing, I'm watching the scene unfold in front of me as I write it on a pen. So she's seeing the images as she writes it. And I thought, well, that's very much like the process. I thought, well, who's going to give the kids a bath? No, I didn't. I thought that's very much the process of when I read a scene, I will see that scene in shots. You know, I will see the shots in that scene. Sometimes I'll read a scene and I won't be able to because I don't think I need to, but a lot of time I will read something and see it visually. No, I won't generally write notes on the script because then what happens, a new edition of the script comes out and you can't keep working to that when it's changed. So I have lots of notepads. First thing I will do is take the script and I will make my notes throughout the script of what I'm seeing in my head and what I'm thinking this is. Oh, I feel this is, it may be raining in this scene, or I'm thinking this is has to have mood, this scene, or I'm thinking this needs a big epic wide shot to start with, or I think this should be covered in the camera should be, so I'll make general notes like that, but those I'll keep to myself, and then I'll save those for when I have discussed the script with the director. So he will tell me what he's thinking. I was thinking when I read it I felt this, and sometimes our notes will be exactly the same, sometimes they'll be different, and I'll say, and I'll listen to what he has to say, and I'll say what I thought, and then we'll come to some agreement of what we think it's going to be, you know. Yeah, that doesn't happen on Martin's film.
Hey, fuckhead!
What?
Don't say what, Dixon, when she comes in calling you a fuckhead, and don't you come in here.
You get over here.
No, you get over here.
All right.
Oh, Martin film, the script is the script, it's written, and that's it. Martin, you know, comes from theatre, you know, and the word is the word. You don't go and make the Tempest and say, oh, I think I might change this scene, and you know, so Martin writes the script, and you've got to remember that Martin's scripts, and I keep Martin's scripts when I do them, they are just amazing script. You wouldn't want to change that, and you don't change it on the day. What Martin has, is the most amazing actors who bring nuances to that work that you wouldn't have thought were there when you read them. But you don't generally change the words. I mean, in terms of how you photograph it, that can be organic, and, you know, we'll look at this, you know, he likes to let his actors play the scene, but he'll have a strong idea, Martin, of what, you know, we'll discuss, again with Martin, we'll discuss every scene, and we'll have a shot list and idea of how each scene works. But he very much will adapt to, you don't get actors and actresses like Francis and Sam in and then say, well, in my storyboard you're standing there. You let them express themselves, you know, you'd be a fool not to, you know. With every director, the prep process and the shooting process is different. Every relationship is different. I suppose it's like every relationship in life with your partners. Yeah, with Matthew, it's very much, we will discuss every scene. We're doing that at the moment over a series of meetings, and what we think it should be, what the film should be at a whole. And those conversations may start with something very small, like, do you think this shot should be this? And then it may then suddenly expand out to being what the whole film is about, and then come back down. But by the time we go into production, we'll have discussed every scene and storyboarded quite a bit of it. Depends how much storyboarding is required. Certain scenes, I think, need storyboarding, certain scenes don't. Whether you're going to use previs or, you know, that's a new tool we can use. What I liked about that film was the premise that, hey, look, anyone could be a superhero, just get a costume. That was my first comic book movie, I think. Now people say, oh, you're the comic book guy, which I really don't like. The good thing about Kick-Ass, it came from Martin McDonagh's comics. We took the comic, took the artwork and said, that's what we're making. We very much took everything from the comic in terms of how I wanted to light it, the design, everything we felt wanted to feel like a comic book on the screen. Now, you don't always do that. That's not necessarily the case with the Marvel movies. But it was very much a case with that particular film because of what it was about a guy saying we can all live within a comic book in a way if we wanted to. So I felt that it needed to have that. Layer Cake was the film I did that kind of set me up in a way and started me on that role because it was successful. Yeah, that's always kind of a, you know, you can make the most incredible looking film, but if no one sees it, then you kind of, people saw that film. Matthew is very clever at knowing his audience and who he's marketing to, and you know, if it's one of Matthew's films, people are going to see it. Simon Hayes, who was a sound recordist, very talented, gave Matthew my name. Simon and I had worked together many times on commercials. Matthew was looking for a DP, and I think Simon suggested me. And then I went in for a meeting with Matthew, and that was it. But it was a very intense prep period where we kind of designed, Matthew and I sat down and we designed the film from beginning to end before we started making it. Some films are more spontaneous than that and have less of a rigid structure. I think Matthew likes preparation. He likes to have it all in his head before you start, and I think that's a very good thing. I mean, it depends on the director, but I think Matthew, that's a very good thing. For most people, that's actually probably where you want to be. What makes it work well between Matthew and I think we have a great mutual respect for each other and for each other's opinion, and I'm very fond of him. I think friendship, I'd say that with Martin McDonagh as well, you know, there's a friendship there and there's a desire to create something meaningful.